Hello viewers! No matter what car you have, one thing's for sure, it definitely has a battery. Its job is to provide a stable voltage supply to all electrical devices in the vehicle and, more importantly, ensure enough charge for the starter to crank the engine when you turn the key. And as you may imagine, if it goes bad, there will be certain issues with the car's electrics. But which, and what to do if suspecting the battery is on its last legs? Well, that's what we're going to find out right now. Apart from the obvious, trouble starting the engine, a worn battery can lead to a bunch of electrical issues and cause your car to behave strangely, as if some gremlins have gotten into it. But let me explain this in a bit more detail. One thing you're sure to notice when the battery is weak is hard starting. What happens is that you turn the key in the ignition and then nothing. The starter motor just doesn't crank. Or you'll hear unusual clicking sounds coming from under the hood instead. Either way, this means the starter isn't getting enough electricity, which is usually caused by a low battery charge. Another thing you might spot is that the headlights aren't as bright as before, or that they flicker from time to time. This is almost a definitive sign of a bad battery, which is responsible for powering up all the lights in a car. And with that in mind, I must mention the interior lights and the dashboard, as they might do the same, flickering or dimming if the battery is weak. But to be honest, these lighting issues may be caused by a worn alternator that doesn't produce enough voltage. A worn battery will also cause various electrical issues, with different systems failing to operate or warning lights being mysteriously triggered. This can be anything from heated seats not working, or the stereo unit turning on its own, to inability to charge your phone. For instance, a couple of years ago, the battery in this car was weak, and the first notable thing was an occasional brake pad warning, although the brakes were fine. The fact is, with a weak battery, the voltage supply to the sensor was insufficient, which messed up its readings. With the battery past its best days, you might notice corrosion on its terminals or attached cables. This is either a white crystal-type substance or a blue-green powder formation, and it forms when the acid from the battery leaks and evaporates around it. You can clean off these deposits using a toothbrush and a baking soda dissolved in warm water. But if the corrosion forms again quickly, the battery is probably leaking and must be replaced. The battery case should remain its normal size throughout its entire life. If there is swelling or the case begins to bulge, it's a sign that something isn't right. The first sign of something's wrong with the battery include a swollen or cracked case. You may also see some of the sides starting to bulge, creating an entirely different shape. When the car battery is working as it should, there will be no unusual smells. Leaking battery acid is what causes a sulfur smell, just like rotting eggs. And this is also what causes the corrosion we previously discussed. So if the battery is leaking, it's time to replace it. But as with flickering headlights, the issue here might also be the alternator, which in this case generates too much charge. In most cars, the battery is somewhere inside the engine bay, so just pop the hood and look for it. Sometimes it might be hidden by a protective cover, but you'll probably figure this out easily. Another quite likely location is the trunk, either under the floor panel or, like here, tucked into this compartment. But with some car makers, finding the battery is a true hide-and-seek game. For example, some Buicks have it under the seats, while in Mercedes ML there is a hatch in the passenger's footwell through which you can access it. And if you have a Dodge Journey, you'll have to jack up the car and remove the wheel to get to the battery, which sits inside the wheel well. If you're having trouble finding the battery in your car, check the owner's manual, as it surely has the correct info on this. Or if you don't have it, leave the question in the comments section below. Someone is likely to come up with an answer. So, having found the battery, you can now replace it, assuming it's showing one or more of the symptoms mentioned earlier. But to be on the safe side, I'd suggest testing it first, for which you'll need one of these, a multimeter. Turn it on and set this selector knob to voltage, as that's the readings you'll be taking. Next, connect the probes to the battery terminals. one to the negative and the other to the positive terminal. Then check the readings on the tool. A good battery should give 12.5 volts, and anything below 12 indicates it doesn't hold enough charge. Still, to rule out any alternator or other charging issues, turn on the engine and retake the readings. You should see approximately 14 volts at this point. But if you don't have the multimeter tool or just don't feel like fiddling with the car's electrical system, there is another option that might work. Just take your car to the local parts store, such as AutoZone, and ask them to run this test for you. Most of these places offer this as a free service, provided you'll buy a new battery if needed. And this brings us to the all-important question of money. How much will it cost to replace the battery depends on two factors. The first thing to consider here is what kind of battery your car needs. Most older vehicles use a conventional wet cell type with acid and distilled water filling its internals. Newer cars, especially those equipped with a start-stop system, use so-called AGM batteries, which are way more expensive. Also, the new battery's capacity, the number of ampere hours it holds, has to match what your car needs. Again, you can find out more about all this in the owner's manual, or alternatively, just buy the same battery as the one currently in the car. All in all, you can spend anywhere between $50 for a small wet cell battery to well over $300 for an AGM battery with a large capacity. Also, if the battery is being replaced by a mechanic, you'll have to consider the labor cost. Assuming the access is easy, this can be done within several minutes. Still, this will not be the case if the battery is buried deep inside the fenders or under the seats, as this may involve quite some dismantling. In the end, we have something called battery registration, which needs to be done in most newer cars. This, in simple words, is a process in which you tell the car what kind of battery you fitted to it and what capacity it has. With that information, the car's computer will optimally set the alternator to keep the battery fully charged at all times while avoiding any potential overcharging situations. The procedure is in most cases simple, but it does require a diagnostic tool capable of performing it. A box standard code reader will not do the trick here. All you need to do is hook up the device, find the battery registration menu, and enter the relevant data, such as whether the battery is a wet cell or AGM, and capacity. With all this done, hit OK and you're good to go. So there you have it. These are the most common symptoms of a bad battery, how to test it, and how much it will cost to replace it. I hope this video was helpful, and if so, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and share it with your friends. But if not, and your car is still behaving strangely, you may have a more severe issue on your hands. So to continue troubleshooting, check out other videos here or visit our site mechanicbase.com for more detailed automotive repair guides. Bye!